Hi everybody, welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to go through my protection method for the greenhouse over winter and give a couple of tips on how I use my heat cable to protect certain palm species. I hope you enjoy. It's nearly October, which unfortunately means that really is the end of the gardening year, here in the Northern Hemisphere at least. And so today, whilst there's lots of blue sky, temperatures in the mid-teens, I thought I would start preparing for winter. So what I'm going to do, I'm not sure if I've shown this before, I protect my greenhouse with two heat cables. I think the one on the left is 15 watts and the one on the right is 25 watts from memory. So only 40 watts of power, and I've got a plug in here which is covered up at the moment to stop water going in, and I just wrap that cable around half of the pots, let's say, going all the way around the greenhouse. And that, I switch that on the coldest of nights, basically when it's due to be below 0 degrees, and that seems to do a good job of enabling me to grow various plants, including Phoenix robellini seedlings. These tiny seedlings here have all survived multiple winters now. Washingtonia robustas. As I said in one of my recent videos, they've never actually looked that good. And I think it's because I've given them, nice big pots. Finally, they sort of all started out in communal pots like this. Oh, this one's rooted into the fabric there. It all started out in communal pots, and obviously those ones aren't growing as well. It's difficult to see, but there's a marked difference between one given a full pot and I know about 15 there, all fighting for soil space. I also need to rearrange these because, as you can see, a lot of the leaves are actually touching the window, the glass, and what will happen if I left that would be that as soon as this freezes, and it's quite exposed, obviously being high up, it's quite quick to freeze, it would mark all of those leaves, and probably by the end of winter I'm sure those leaves would be brown and dead. So I'm going to rearrange those a little bit so that the smaller plants are at the back and the larger plants are, maybe on that racking there where they've got a bit more headspace. Right, so that's all the Washingtonia robusta, and as you can see, I've sorted them by height. So I've got the best looking ones over here, and actually these look fantastic, don't they? They look really healthy. Done a fantastic job with those. And then as we come down here, they get progressively smaller and less healthy looking. And yeah, down here we've got the pots with multiple plants in. So I've kind of proved my point now, I think, that the ones with bigger pots are doing better. You can see that as we go across, the pots are getting bigger and bigger. One or two exceptions, obviously. This one down the end's a bit of a funny looking one. It's kind of really stunted. So it's actually got, quite developed leaves, but it's the smallest in height of all of them. So be interesting to see what happens with that one. There's no tag on it, so presumably it is, or I've presumed it is a Washingtonia robusta, but may not be. It's got a load of these fibres, which is typical of Washingtonia. So now I'm going to start with down this end on the right. I'm going to place these. Actually, first I'm going to just give this a little clean. But once it's clean, I'll place them here like this, so that they're not touching the ceiling. If I can help it, that's touching the side at the minute. So if I can turn it so that it's not like that, then that's absolutely perfect. The other thing I've just seen that I need to replace, and I haven't done this since the spring, or maybe even late winter, is this panel. And I really struggle to find glass now, greenhouse glass. The place I used to go to shut down. I've tried a couple more places, but they seem to be shut down as well. And I'm a bit, you know, I could get a plastic one from Amazon or somewhere, but I've heard that they just blow out because they bend, and the wind just bends them and forces them out of position. So not quite sure what to do there. I might try a plastic one, I think. That's the back row in, and some of these ones that are forming the second row now, they were actually too tall to go along the back row, so I've had to change the plan a little bit and put some Phoenix canariensis on the far right there. There are Phoenix canariensis underneath as well, so I'm kind of I try and keep the plants in sections so that I know what's what, because most of these pots don't have labels. The occasional one will do. So as long as one in that section has a label, I tend to know what's going on. And what I'm going to do now, I've plugged in the first of the heat cables, and I've switched it on because on this one it used to be marked where the heat started, because up until a certain point there's no heat in the cable, and so I've had to turn it on so I can feel it. I can feel it now. Actually, you can just about make out the mark there still. So what I'm going to do now is use this section to just go up and down, I think. So let me start that now. I've forgotten just how short that cable is actually. So it actually starts, I mean, all this is before it heats up, but down here you can just see that's where it starts to heat up. And I've gone all the way down here. I've gone round the end and I'm going to return back in the middle of this bench, but it's only got to there. So there's still a bit of bench which isn't going to be heated. Heating is probably the wrong word, warmed. So I need to use the next cable. I need to start it to warm up this first little section of the bench before it continues somewhere else. And that's everything put back in. So you can see now that nothing is quite touching the glass at the top of the greenhouse, although it is 25 degrees in here today according to the thermometer, so things will still be growing. Oh, there's something touching there. There's always going to be the odd little bit, but I am a little bit worried. I might have done this a bit early, because this one, for example, if this keeps growing, you know, it's only got to grow another couple of inches and then it'll be touching the ceiling. The other thing this has done, which is quite nice, it's kind of presented me my best palm trees. So along here are the sort of the ones that are still developing, let's say. Then right in front of us there, we've got some really good ones. And on the floor down here, we've got some excellent ones. So some of these are going to go into the garden next year. If I can get them through winter quite successfully, then I'll probably sell some as well, just on Facebook Marketplace locally. So with the upside of having larger pots for these Washingtonia and them being much healthier, well, the upside is they're much healthier. The downside is that I've got much less space than I normally have in the greenhouse. So I am a little bit worried about that. I've got quite a lot to cram in here, so it's going to be a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. Now what I'm going to do first of all is just wrap this cable around the rest of the greenhouse and prepare the area so that that'll all be done, and then when it gets really cold I can put these butias or some of those pots, and of course the Braha Amata over here, which always overwinters in the greenhouse. And this is a massive pot. I don't know the size of it, but it's a huge pot. Takes up a lot of space in the greenhouse. So yeah, I definitely don't have enough space. That is a problem. But I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Let's just pray for now for a mild winter. think I was definitely wrong at the start. I think that first cable, the brown one, must be less than 15 watts. Either that or the black one is more than 25, because the black one's probably, I don't know, 5 times longer. They give off the same amount of warmth. I've tested them both, they work fine, so that's good. I thought I would quickly give you kind of a couple of tips on this. So with Washingtonia, for example, from experience in my location, I know that if I just put it inside one of the old boots like that, that's generally enough. And you can see what I've done here. So this one here is actually missed completely, but the others sort of going around the base of the trunk. That's sort of enough, gives off enough warmth for them to survive. What I do with these robollinis, which are in smaller pots, is I actually go around the pots themselves. Ideally it'd be a bit higher up maybe, but just depends how tight you can wind it. And I've sort of gone around a row of 2, so this entire row kind of it's going up and back and up and back in rows of 2. So I find that works quite well. Other things like this agave here I've missed completely. These ones as well, and this yucca flifera I've missed completely because they're just fine. And the jabeyas as well, I had to go past them to get to the next place, but they don't need any additional heat, so they're all fine as well. And what I'm left with in this small amount of space is this much wire. So 6 foot of wire, that's all I've got left. And that will simply just go in and out of a couple of palms there as well. It's never too early to start thinking about winter protection. Well, it probably is, but certainly the end of September, early October is definitely not too early. And whilst everything still looks nice and lush and green and healthy, we've got blue skies and we're in t-shirts, it's tempting not to worry about winter protection, but I suppose experience tells you that it's good to get ahead, good to start planning now, so that when we do get a sudden cold snap, it's not a mad rush to get outside in the freezing cold, in the rain, in whatever the weather's doing at that time, and doing a rush job. It's much better to be prepared, pick a nice day like today, and make a good job of it. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are.